It's a vibe check. Mars and Aries. To be inspired means to be inspirited, to be filled with spirit. Life is a self-correcting system. We're going to have Sun and Chiron and Mercury and Mars and Saturn and Neptune. And you might want to think about cleaning it up. A little hygiene on the thinking feelings.
Lunatic astrology.
Mars is heading into the sign of Aries. He only enters Aries every 2 years. And Mars in Aries is our guy. He's Mr. Force of will, power, personal, ambition, desire, drives, and decisions, actions. Mars is the guy that motivates us to get off our seat and our ass and get something done. And he's the guy who chooses and decides or supports our choosing and deciding mechanism so that we can take the right path in a road that bisects in two different directions. When we have Mars in his dignity in the sign of Aries, we are going to feel better about our life. Momentum, forward movement, decisions and actions become quite easy and accurate. He's definitely not going to lead you down a path that isn't the right way to go. And in today's video, we're talking about Mars in Aries, and he's going to be there on April the 9th, and he leaves on May the 18th. How can you use this energy for your sign? Now, Mars in Aries is also going to be accompanied by a stellium of planets. At one point, we're going to have Sun and Chiron and Mercury and Mars and Saturn and Neptune bundled up together in Aries, which makes this extraordinarily rare. We haven't seen this kind of jam-packed stellium for years. Certainly in 1991, we had quite a bit of Aries action, but the most important thing is it is very significant that he enters into Aries and he's bossing everyone around in his kingdom, telling them what to do. Now, today's video is not about the world astrology of Saturn in Mars in Aries with Saturn and Neptune, other than to say he might try to rein in or get kerosene on things that look like holy wars, but we're not doing that today. This is your video, how you can use this energy. And this video, which is coming out on a Thursday, the week after that, I'm putting another Mars video out, because on the 19th, 20th of the month or so, around that time, he's co-joining Saturn, and that's a synodic reset button that's also decades rare. And we're going to talk about how you can use that synodic cycle reset button in your life and how you can see the course of the next couple of years until April of 28 and how to use it. But for today's video, for your sign, and it's not a long video, I just want to go through the vibe. What are you going to do? It's a vibe check. What are you going to do with this energy? And how can you best use it based on what else is happening in the sky? Welcome to my channel. My name is Lori Lothian. This is Western Tropical Zodiac Astrology. And we are going to go through the sun, moon, and rising signs. Sun sign, that is your deepest core essence. It's the eternal you, and it's the actor who plays the role in a movie. The movie role is your rising sign, right? So Reese Witherspoon plays a girl next door. Your sun, your true self, plays a character in the simulation. So I'm an Aries sun. I'm full of fire. That's my true self. I play the scientific Spock-like Aquarian. Your moon is how you think and feel about life. What do you think? What do you feel? You know, how you think and feeling about this thing. It reflects the light of the sun. It has no natural illumination of its own. And it's a reflector or a mirror of your soul. And so sometimes our soul can be quite challenged. We can be depressed, anxious, angry, and blaming, and attacky, and victimy in our thinking, feeling. And that's why books like Think As a Man Thinketh and Neville Goddard are also reminding us that your mind, your thinking and feeling states really do outpicture in your life. And you might want to think about cleaning it up, a little hygiene on the thinking feelings. But your moon is also your home and nest. So listen for your sun in connection to career and purpose matters. Listen for your moon in connection to your feelings and emotions, but also domestic life. And listen to your rising sign as a simulation character who is extremely influenced by the sky for most of us. Although at the age of 40, mid 40s onward, a lot of us begin to open up the sun energy and become more activated by the sun as well for listening to these kinds of videos. You don't know how to cast your chart in whole sign houses or to find your rising sign, in my description box below is a free tutorial on how to do that. And we're going to talk about each separate sign as we go through the story. Remember, March 30th to April 23rd is when you're going to be dealing. April 19th to May 18th, April 19th to May 18th. April 9th to May 18th, April 9th to May 18th. I can say this, I can do this. It's in my third video today. April 9th to May 18th is indeed the time frame that you need to be paying attention to for the Martian impulse in your sky. All right. I'm teaching my Divine Timing Masterclass for 5 weekends in May. It's for intermediate to advanced beginners. All the information about the modules and the tools you'll be learning are in the description box below. Follow the link to my website. And you might also consider that you can do it modularly and you can take individual modules. The more you bundle together, the cheaper it is. But if some of you know a tool already and you don't want to relearn it, obviously, and we have weekly Q&As and all the information to sign up. I'd love to see you in class. I haven't taught this since 2022. It's not my beginner class. That's Sky Reader. That's in the fall every year in September. And this September will be my 7th year teaching Sky Reader. But this one is the intermediate level course. All right. So I am so excited to talk about Aries, Mars, because I have a sun, a moon, and a Mercury in Aries in my 3rd house. And so I feel really good when Mars comes into my stellium of Aries and I feel restored. So hopefully you guys will feel some juice from that too. We're going to start with Aries because it's in your sign, not just because you're first and foremost the sign who likes to go first. You're the me first sign, right? Me first. I wasn't that annoying person like always not in school. I was too shy. Saturn on my ascendant. But as I got to be older, I'm the annoying person who's always putting my hand up to volunteer for something in a class or whatever. I'll do it. All right. And we're going to roll through the Mars and Aries story. I'm so excited by this. I should have had red on, but I'm recording today in a bunch of blue because it would have been more of the story of Mars. So we'll move ourselves to Aries. Sorry, Pisces. Well, first of all, let's go back. And you can see that by the time we get to April 12th, he's here, but it is on the 9th in my time zone. We all have different time zones. So like you got to account for where you live. So in Vancouver, Canada, it'll be still on the 9th, and perhaps where you are, it'll be on the 10th. So just for precision, in case anybody wants to see it, let's get them right across the finish line together. Well, does precision really matter? Do we need to know the exact second that he crosses the sign boundary? I know some astrologers are into that. But here he is up in Pisces. I'm just going to swoop him across the boundary. Oh, I'm going by minutes. Take me forever in minutes. Still going by minutes. Oh. Sorry, guys. Just close your eyes. You're going to get dizzy. Now I'll go by hour. All right, so there he is, 0000, roughly around April the 9th, a Thursday, Jupiter's day, around 1 in the afternoon, Vancouver, Canada. Adjust for your time zone. Notice if you feel it, feel it. Do you have a vibe, right? Do you know, oh my God, I'm starting to feel different on Thursday, April the 9th. I got my mojo, my go-getter is activated. Now we're going to instead move us backwards for Aries sun, Aries moon, and Aries rising sign. And what's the vibe? Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this kind of content. It really supports the channel. And liking is fabulous, commenting, but subscribing is the creme de la creme, tip jar of reality on YouTube. So please subscribe too. And let's start out. Aries, you guys are totally jam-packed. You got a party in your sign. So you Aries sun is really affecting career and purpose matters. Aries moon, your emotions and feelings, maybe even your relationship to your home life. And I'll be moving under this energy to a new home. And also this. For Aries rising, the character in the simulation is being completely occupied by multiple archetypal energies, right? Saturn, serious and sober-minded, Neptune, fantasy and visionary, Sun, life force, energy and purpose, and Chiron, the wound you've been dealing with since 2019, and Mars, gallivanting here, kaboom, kaboom, trying to go forward in ways that are motivated, willpowered personally. And Mars is not just Mr. Willpower. He's hooked up to Pluto. Pluto is considered the transpersonal willpower, the bigger power, the divine willpower. And that willpower is working with Mars in a sextile. So there's a lot about Mars moving through this part of your sky from April the 9th to May 18th, where you might feel like you've got what do you call it? When you the wind at your back, you're making the moves, you know what you want. You're making decisions like a commander in chief. You're not dilly-dallying. You're excited and you're fired up and you might be passionate and you've got the wind at your back. You're being pushed along by the current of life. This is not a struggle. This is actually like literally you've got jet fuel going as you're pushed by a bigger and higher force in the right direction. And a lot of you Aries will be making some important decisions in your life between April 9th to May 18th because you haven't had this stellium from Mars to command like this before. Literally, you're healing a chironic identity wound or career wound or home wound as well that has been with you since 2019. And Mars has got the command chair. He's like Captain Kirk in the command seat, right? In the old-timey Star Trek. He's got his heroic element playing out for you. You have nothing to lose here. And as he does that, he's focused on what you want and don't want. So one of the things Mars does is dissect and divide, right? So if there's like a person in your life that you need to cut away, especially a long-term committed love relationship, or maybe you want to cut away a situation regarding your audience marketplace clients, or maybe you want to cut away a professional direction, or you want to cut away to a new home, well, then you will have the momentum and action power and decision-making power to do that in these weeks that he's here. I do want to tell you, if you've been really confused about anything, Neptune and Mars together early on in the story, like literally like sometime close after April 10th, will help you clear the air, defog. You know, when your car is all fogged up and you can't see where you're going. Well, when Mars hits Neptune, I find he's a defogger. He cuts through the confusion. He'll be there around the 12th, 13th of the month. So you'll find that that's when you can, on a clear day, you can see forever. All the fog is burned off. Certainly the sun's been trying to burn the fog, but now Mars is going to slice through it like with a laser knife of some sort. And you can part the Red Sea of your fog of confusion. And you'll know, is that the relationship for me? Is that the home for me? And is it the place I want to live, right? Is that my home? And is that the place that I want to be ambitiously pursuing my career? Ignore the minor asteroids right now. They were here for the video that I produced before this, which is the week ahead video, and go watch that because I discuss how those minor asteroids are playing out in the sky this week in a very positive way. Go back and watch the Monday video drop, which is much more in depth and long than this one will certainly be. Now, one thing to be careful of is Mars can be very ambitious and very excited, and you might hurt yourself or burn yourself out. And there is a wall coming. He's going to hit the wall as he hits Saturn around the 17th to the 20th. And that might be where, if you don't temper yourself now in terms of how much willingness you have for passionate drive, ambition, work, and plowing through it with excitement, then you might go 17th to 20th and say, I just hit some kind of burnout wall. Wow, I overdid it. Like, what was I thinking? So an injury as well. Be careful, because certainly around the 17th to 20th, your overambition could lead to something that makes you stop. Saturn is stop and Mars is go. Mars is gas pedal. Saturn is brake. So that would likely be your own self-undoing. No one's going to attack you. That's not this story. This is you being your own worst, overdoer, overachiever, and causing something to happen that slows you down. So take a few deep breaths and instead choose another path. You can work hard and be ambitious and make really good power decisions and still not hurt yourself or burn out. When Mars is in your sign like this, one of the things I think about often is how he's got you and he's the ruler of your 8th house. This could open up your psychic abilities, your occult mysteries, your paranormal, third eye, your I talk to dead people. This could really have you focus more on those talents if you have them. It also could have you ambitiously making decisions connected to your chunks of money. That can be anything from investments, 401k, stocks. It's so funny. For me, it's probably similar to some of you. I might thinking about whether I'm going to invest in the Rocky stock markets or start placing bets on Polymarket. Polymarket will give me chunks of gambling wins, right? Mars trines your 5th house of gambling wins. I'm a psychic. Why not use it on Polymarket and make some quick bucks? So, for example, Polymarket's got a bet on when the Iran war will end. And I tuned in psychically and I came up with the date. Now I can't remember what it was. It wasn't before the 31st of the month, but I said the war will end before, I don't know, between the it won't end before the 31st of April. So I should bet on that, right? All right. The other thing I like to point out is that not only you're transpersonally will powered up and jacking out like a huge amount of energy, drive, and ambition, which is wonderbar, right? You're also in a lot of ways going to be looking at Jupiter's placement here over the course of the next few months, a few weeks, I mean, and noting that Jupiter is in a supportive, well, a square, but a supportive position in terms of dignity. So we have a dignified Mars and a dignified Jupiter. And ultimately what that's going to do, and it's not inconsequential, all right? This kind of alignment is not common. We need Jupiter in his position, which is only happening every 12 years. So therefore, this feels like a positive development. But it's Mars trying to make Jupiter, is applying to Jupiter, do something. And Jupiter will do it and bring prosperity and abundance to you. That's the basic vibe there. So there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of intensity about what the doing it is, but it has to do with your fourth house. And it could be how you prosper in and from your home. Now, don't forget, we have Mars here into the month of May, and that Jupiter square doesn't happen until the month of May. But you need to be ready for that. That's going to be a big deal. There's going to be an opportunity moment that's full of intensity, but at the same time, opening up doors of luck, abundance, and prosperity. So a lot going on in May as that begins to form. And if I had any advice, because I'm going to live through this with you guys, is after we hit the wall on the 17th, the 20th, and we move on to the other side, then Mars is going to slice through Chiron, who's here until June. And so the Chironic wound since 2019 of your career path, Aries moon, your identity, and how you look, and maybe your body and your health, Aries rising, and your Aries home, Aries moon, or your emotions. I think that because this is the last time that Mars can slice through Chiron, right? This is the end of a story. Mars will be cutting through the wound. Now you have to think about a scalpel cutting through the wound, right? But that's an important thing. That'll be happening in May, closer to when he's getting ready to exit the sign, closer to like May 15th or so. And so that can indicate a real big turning point around a big challenge you've been engaged with since 2019. And we talk a lot about Chiron. He's getting ready to go to Taurus. I'll be teaching a big webinar on the Taurus ingress. And by the way, speaking of webinars, I'm doing Uranus and Gemini webinar. It's free. Look in my description box. Come along and enjoy that class with me. Well, Taurus, you are the opposite energy, right? Goddess of love. Venus is your chick and she's in your sign. And we'll do a separate video on that. If I already did a separate video on that, I think. But I did. Yeah, go watch it. Venus and Taurus video came out a while ago, a few days before I'm recording this for you guys on April the 2nd. And you're not getting this for quite a week away, 7 days away from this day. But I want to mention that you're going to not really, you have to choose consciously to engage Mars. Otherwise, he's just going to do a lot of wreaking havoc in your psyche because he's in the hidden 12th house, which is often the unexamined zone of our life. If you're not like meditating or doing therapy or looking into your navel or gazing into your karma and checking out your ancestral childhood life wounds, if you're not doing that consciously, then he may be unconscious here. And the unconscious Mars can be damaging. He could have you, seriously, I don't know. Sometimes expenditures belong to the 12th house, and you might be going on a rampage of having to pay bills or spending money that you don't have or something like that. Unconscious Mars. Conscious Mars, let's go for a trip to a far off land and let's visit the ashram. Let's cut away all the extraneous stuff that keeps us from our contemplative solitude. Let's cut away those addictions, especially undoing self-sabotaging patterns and habits. Mercury will be joining Mars as time progresses here. The exact date, I don't quite recall, but trust me. And that means for sure what you put in your nose and mouth matters. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and take a look at the transition date for you. Just close your eyes. The chart will probably migrate. There we go. All right. April 15th. I knew that consciously. How did I forget that? Because I'm in the house of the unconscious. Yeah, there you go. Lori knows this like the back of her hand. April 15th. So once Mercury joins in, then things to do with what you eat and what you put in your mouth, and you need to get rid of them and you need to cut them away. You're going to do that, especially as you approach that Mars Saturn. Saturn says constrict the addictions and escapist habits. Neptune, Saturn. Mars says decisions, action, and willpower. And it's kind of like a very ride or die, do or die energy right here. So if you've been struggling with any addictive patterns or habits, whether it's weed, wine, women, or song, I don't know, this is going to be a massive turning point for you. And so we're looking at that around the 15th of April. We know that it gets even more intensified on the 17th, the 20th, because of the Saturn conjunction. Now, if you have anything going on in your life with Jupiter's placement in your third house to do with abundance, prosperity, and goodness, and expansion in the third house, Mars will work with this in May and try to open up opportunities that require immediate decision and actions. And Jupiter's role in your chart, should this occur, would be to increase your career gains. So it's possible some of you are going to come into a pivotal turning point moment, maybe through having dealt with your own stuff, your own shit, your own saboteur, or maybe because of backroom deals and negotiations in which you come into a turning point that allows for you to increase your career gains. And it could be because you're going to, there's something about the third house. It could be like, a favor from a local person, a favor from a childhood friend, a favor from a sibling that allows you to step up into a new level of success professionally, including the amount of money and earnings and prosperity you get from that career. All right. So there's a level up. Mars could also bring more money into your life through a spousal relationship, or your in-laws and your partner bringing more money through them, their path, and your in-laws. And that also increases your success financially, globally, because you're together in a committed love story. You'll notice that energy opening up in the month of May. Ultimately, do the work. If you don't look, go within or go without is a cliche, but it's true. And in this sky, it's never been more true. This is a rare, decades rare type of stellium. We'll be doing a video on the karmic reset button of Saturn Mars here for you. It's a big deal. I don't think it's happened since 1998. Memory serves me, but I'll be doing a deep dive video on that about a week after this video comes out. And you're going to want to watch that because it's a 2-year forecast for your chart, not a 2-month forecast. And ultimately, I would tell you, if you have a chance to go away somewhere, Mars loves in the 12th house to go away on an adventure somewhere distant, another city, another country, another far offshore. This would be an ideal time to get some time away from the everyday life that you lead, the normal life that you lead, by going away somewhere. All right. He exalts your 9th house. So it could be a foreign land. And this is between April the 9th and May 18th. So that kind of thing would be a good way to use this, right? By the way, if you are proactive in helping people by being charitable to them and giving them help when they need it, whether it's money or whatever, Mars can also direct you to levels of higher success by being very charitable to others during this transit. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, surely having this stellium in your 11th house of good spirit, which leads to pennies from heaven and windfalls at times, the actualization of your hopes, dreams, and wishes, and increased gains in your career, surely having this is going to feel good. You're going to be, first of all, ambitious and directed, especially once we get Mercury joining forces up here on the 15th of April. And between April 9th and May 18th, getting even better after the 15th, we have this kind of powerhouse commercial stellium. This is the kind of thing where if you are involved in, influencing people, working with groups of people, whatever your career path, if you're a motivator and a movement maker, a champion, a warrior, and a hero, your career path is taken off here. It's wonderful. But also, I wonder if there's something going on where there could be some social groups of belonging, clubs you belong to, friendship groups, networks, you might be wanting to eliminate. I mean, every 2 years when Mars travels Aries, he has a high and mighty vibe. And, he might be like, you know what? You don't need those friends. With friends like that, who needs enemies? There might be a weaning and a cutting and a trimming of your friendship circles by action and choice, or even being chosen by your friend. But afterwards you go, yeah, I'm glad they cut me out of their life. They weren't doing me any favors, that kind of thing. Friends and allies and benefactors will be masculine. You'll come into contact with men. Yes, there's such a thing as a man, who are going to actually want to support you. And so look for men to show up in positions of support, particularly with Saturn, older men, elder men, wise old men wanting to come your way and support you in some way to do with like a friend, a leg up, someone who wishes you well in a position of power. And Mars can translate that to professional success. He rules your work house. And so we can see leg ups from men and influential men giving you a leg up and more exposure, more success, more career success, some way, somehow, usually connected to your work and livelihood matters. Jupiter. And the one more thing about the 11th house, because we want to part ways with friends, fine, but we make decisions, and this is our decision-making planet, sextiling the Gemini sky. And so what it is you decide will have fruitful results here, but some of the decisions will come through other people. And so even a sibling one older, even a friend will give you some kind of information or guidance that allows you to heal the chironic wound, by the way, or belonging in your friendship circles, feeling like you fit in, or a wound to do with the gains of your career being out of purpose or out of alignment. I think I don't want to be the astrological weather girl. And that's one of the wounds I've had since 2019. My son has progressed into Gemini. So I can relate there as well. You could find yourself, though, cutting away those friends or an elder sibling relationship if it's toxic or not needed for you, one older than you, sibling one older. Jupiter is in your money house. He's hanging out with ops for thrival, abundance, and happy endings after times of loss. And you're going to like that combination because it's quite powerful. And you're trying to find like a pineapple blossoming thrival after a time of financial concern, a difficulty, or even just burnout. And what I'll say you're probably going to see here in May when Jupiter and Mars begin to hook up in a square, because don't forget, we got till May 18th for the departure of Mars, that you're going to find that there's some financial opportunity to make or earn money coming your way, likely through, as I said, a masculine presence or a male figure with Saturn, maybe in the same sign of an older person, right? So, I mean, I don't care how old you are. If you're 60, then the person's 80. If you're 20, the person's 50. Older to you, you feel like they're a lot older, mature, or maybe established in some area. And you are going to be guided or helped or supported by that person. Often if you're going to go on a podcast or someone's show, then this is the 11th house, because you're influencing large groups. So maybe some golden podcasting opportunities, but it also could be a financial career gain uplift for you in the month of May. Thank you to the sky. And Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is a fast video. I do realize that. Slow me down if you need to on the playback speed. I'm not tired or overworked today. I'm in a good mood and I'm well rested. It's just that I want to actually go on and have a foot massage and enjoy the rest of my day. If you look at this sky and you just notice that a chock-a-block party going on in your 10th house of reputation and career, you notice that you're really busy up there. I was like, where are you busy? Oh, in your career space. Why are you busy? Well, you're trying to be on purpose, says Chiron. Saturn says you're working hard and you've got a level of mastery or authority at what you're trying to accomplish. You have ambition and drive, and you're passionate, or you're on your target market, like you're focused on what you're supposed to do in that career. Don't forget, you're going to hit a wall the 17th to 20th. So be careful for that, because that's where you could either burn out or quit a job, or the job quits you. You have to be watchful for that. But you'll make some big career decisions during this time of April the 9th to May 18th, and maybe major changes in the direction of your career as well. The stellium is decades rare. And the reset button, I don't think has happened since 1998, when Mars is going to co-join Saturn. I'm going to do a video on that one, but that's also another 2-year change in career story. Good news is you're blessed because you have Jupiter exalted in your sign with thrival and turnaround stories, opportunity and happiness after times of struggle. And you carry that, Cancer sun in your career path, moon in your home life and emotions, and Cancer rising in your character in the sim. And now this is going to hook up in early May or early to mid-May. There's going to be a Mars Jupiter square, and that Mars Jupiter square is going to pivot you. It's like the wheel of your fortune is turning in your career sector. And it may involve enjoyment, entrepreneurship, creativity, and art as well. Maybe setting up your own entrepreneurial business, for example, wouldn't be far off the mark here. And you're under divine protection with Jupiter. So whatever happens, say you quit your job or your job quits you between April 9th and May 18th, not to worry, because early May brings you a new and better opportunity, and nothing that is, lost by a job change, or quitting your job it's going to be fine. What I'm trying to say, it's all going to work out. You're going to find something better. Jupiter will provide something better. Jupiter rules your work house, like the job house, right? In your 6th house. So if you exit out of one thing, which you may well do around the 17th to 20th, then you'll bounce back in May with an even better opportunity for your career and your work stories. And Mars is the exaltation lord of your marriage house, which is not too shabby. There could be some major pivots and exciting decisions in a long-term committed love story about whether to get married or not, including setting the wedding date or engagement proposals for some of you coming through April the 9th to May 18th. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Finally, we get to this beautiful trine in your 9th house. See how it fire trines you? Fiery Aries to fiery Leo. You're loving it. And Leo, you would love it even better than most signs because your sun, the sun is your ruler. He's up there. Like, holy moly, right? What a jam-packed story is this for you? Nothing about this is negative because it's all trining you. Mars is directing your life towards a deeper meaning and purpose, maybe directing your life to focus more on things like winning in a court case or succeeding in an academic setting, and maybe directing your attention to the possibility of travel internationally, even as bad as the world is right now. And Mars is also helping you cut away or decide what is true and not true for you when it comes to feeling like you're aligned in life with a critically important part of life, purpose. So there's a real purpose orientation coming through, which occurs every 2 years, but not very commonly with Mars and Saturn. So there's going to be a vibe of a 2-year reset occurring here. You might find that you could go back to school because you make decisions. You're going to go off and apply for college or academic settings. That could happen for sure. Mars is competitive and he likes to win. And you could also win a spot in a coveted university, or you could win an unlikely success in a court case. Certainly with Venus in the 10th house, the gains of the win from the court case, you stand to do well in any legal or court matter you're dealing with, and that includes marital separation and divorce. That's particularly true because of Saturn's rulership of your 7th house. You might hit a wall in legal matters, academic setting, travel plans, and or trying to set your compass to true north. You could hit that wall anytime around the 17th to 20th when we have a Saturn collision with Mars and Mars with Saturn. This will pass. It's a deeper meaning than that. It's a reset. We'll be addressing that in a video later. The energy, though, could be good for getting really in touch with guides, mentors, and healers and teachers, but people who would guide you, like, guidance counselors, and finding that you could find a male, wise, old male, right, that comes into your life during this cycle that can really be your coach, your guide, your counselor, or your dream therapist. The hand of the king is coming to serve you. Jupiter is full of opportunity and thrival with Rhea, the wife of Saturn, Ops, sitting with him like a pineapple goddess in your 12th house. If there's been struggle at all times of difficulty regarding expenditures, particularly a lot of money going out, there's a healing of that money going out and a feeling like the bucket of your money and resources is filling back up. Okay, so those of you, Leos, who had to spend a lot of money for unexpected or difficult expenditures, including and especially regarding children, Jupiter rules your house of children, or your romantic partner, then this is going to turn around and you're going to refill the coffers, and you'll really start to fill the coffers, fill back up in the month of May when we get a square between Jupiter and Mars. And Jupiter can also translate some of this intense energy in your 9th house to developments regarding children and grandchildren, and actions and decisions involving those people in your life that are being commanded and guided by Jupiter. And don't forget, Mars has got some transpersonal willpower up his sleeve as well. So he's like a force to be reckoned with, and you are using him to your advantage. He's opening up the meaning, purpose, and dharma houses in a very rare stellium. And I think this will feel to you like you've come back to life, right? When it comes to feeling like life has a meaning, a direction, and a purpose. And if you don't have a spiritual religion, you might want to find one. But if you do have one, Mars is always good at cutting that religious path out, your faith or spiritual ideology, because it doesn't work for you anymore. It's no longer the appropriate one for you. So leaving those behind, that's fine. You'll find a better and more useful and more practical spiritual ideology that actually works. There's a small possibility of coming into money from a father figure who's elder and kind of winning money or coming into money, not winning it, but like an inheritance or something like that. That's a possibility. That likely not true until Mercury leaves for Aries mid-April. So we could say like mid-April, add 3 weeks, you could come into some money. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign, you are looking at a stellium in the house of chunky money. What can you say? Very rare. I think it was 91. We had a lot of planets here. 98, we had a Saturn Mars conjunction. So it's not common. And this is an energy that just tells you you're resetting your life. This is a cosmic reset on around the 19th, 20th. We'll be doing a separate video on the 2-year forecast. And you're also looking in the proximate short term between April the 9th and May 18th, a lot of passionate action, decisions, and power focused on the following themes. For you, cutting out addictions, getting rid of self-undoing bad habits and patterns, especially if they're connected to past lives or family of origin issues, including like, hey, Grandpa Joe was addicted to crystal meth and my grandma was an alcoholic. If there's stuff in the family line in particular, this is one of the most imperatively powerful. Cut out that shit from your life and you're unstoppable. You can do it. You've got it. You've got it figured out. Chunky money can come in any way here, but this also looks like it could come from father figures connected to family of origin. So yes, for some Virgos, you may have the passing of an elder father figure leading to an inheritance. You could also see the sky, Virgo, as money from a separation or divorce. Jupiter says, I'm bringing you great luck or pennies from heaven or windfalls from your divorce settlement. Look to May when Mars will square Jupiter for that to be true, where you can see the tangible results of inheritance money or money connected to your spousal separation, divorce settlement agreements. If you've been struggling to feel that any of your life dreams are ever going to come true, that your career gains are operationally optimistic for you, struggling to find a sense of belonging even with large groups of friends, you might come into a new crowd off of this. This could bring you into a new friendship circle. So if you're going sober-minded friends. But whatever it is, this could open up new community for you, because you're doing some deep soul work in that 8th house. You're cutting out the ancestral garbage. You're cutting out the addictions. You're cutting out the past life stuff. If you have any occult talents, I talk to dead people / I see the future. God whispers in my ear. If you're clairaudient, whatever, any of those. Well, Mercury here is very powerful. He's very well appointed in the 8th house. He's known in Firmicus Maternus to be the astrologer advisor to kings, or the astrologer priest guide to kings in this position. It opens up that part of the channel of your intuitive psychic third eye, and all of the stuff to do with the occult mysteries become absolutely lit for you. And if you've never thought about doing an occult path, studying, learning, practicing it, or even using it professionally, Mercury rules your house of profession, you could start a business or start a direction. Mars exalts your entrepreneurship, where you're going to open up a psychic readings, the tarot card readings, astrology business. So that's a good way to use this energy. Start using it or Tantra. The 8th house is Tantra, like red Tantra and white Tantra. And you might open up a tantric line of energy and maybe discover that's part of your path. So there's a lot going on here that looks positive. Shared resource with a spouse is your 8th house. Mars is to divide, separate, or cut. If you're not divorcing, you could just be looking at the significant other relationship and finding new ways to use your money together. And in this chart, that includes purchasing a home. So if you guys are thinking of that, then I would say that probably April 9th to May 18th, the opportunity to successfully buy a home with your significant other can be available to you. All right? Or to inherit a home or inherit property and money, allowing you guys to do that together. All right, moving into the next sign. And can I get through this without a snack? I think I can. The little choo-choo train here did. I got an avocado over there. I'm just ready to devour. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. I hope you guys like this stuff. Don't forget to hit the like button and to subscribe. I really appreciate the help. I really would. Not going to beg, but Libra. what the hell? You know, there's your seventh house of marriage. And I would say to you right away, if you're married, what's going on with your partner? Because quite often we understand the seventh house is the life of the partner that you're with, whether it's a business partner, but most often a long-term love partner. So your mate or your partner is going through a lot. You can see it from here. Right, you're here. This is happening over here. What are they dealing with in their life? Are they trying to get sober? Saturn, sober, Neptune addictions, Mars cutting. Are they making major life changes, including a change of career? In fact, if your partner is looking for a new job, look no further than May. May, the Jupiter-Mars hookup. After a time of struggle and difficulty in career, your partner may find a new career path. Mars exalts the fourth house, but 10th house for your partner. So an exalted new job could come to your partner that allows them to work from home, but they're also love the job. Those are stories I'm making up, but your partner can get amazing directional shifts in May regarding work and success and new jobs. But in the meantime, you can see, especially when Mercury gets here, probably some serious conversations with your partner on mid-April through till about early May. But it's about what are you guys talking about, right? Negotiating, talking, etc. Looks like your partner's going through a struggle and hitting a wall the 17th, the 20th, and you might be there to talk them through it, whatever their struggle is, a professional wall, a wall around addictions, especially addictions. Mercury rules the house of addictions here. And the other thing about it is that your partner might be full of passion and drive. They might be suddenly picking up a new level of excitement in their life, April 9th to March 18th, May 18th, where they're suddenly focused, organized, driven, decisive. The only downside is separation. Sometimes Mars here can separate the two of you, but usually it's geographical for travel related reasons, or you guys could have some major conversations about whether you're going to want to stay together or not. April the 9th to May the 18th. Jupiter is in your 10th house, and you could have a new contract agreement or, sign on the dotted line offer. Mercury in the 7th house is the legal agreement for an offer regarding a new job. If you're going to get that offer and everything coming through, it's more likely in sometime between May 1st to the 18th than it is April 9th to the beginning of May, because we want Jupiter and Mars to hook up a little more tightly here. And Jupiter is the ruler of your work house in the north node of increase. So this can definitely look like for Libras, a new escalation of success and thrival in your career related to your job and work or employee-employer structures, and a major turning point that would involve like an offer, right? 7th house is offer energy. So like if you're selling a house, it's where the seller makes the offer. It's your contracts and agreements and vows as well. And you might be making some major decisions in love as well about not just where you should move or live. Or maybe you could buy a house, but also whether you want to like legally be wed. Okay. So there could be some conversations about getting married and making decisions about whether or not you guys want to do that. That's something that could happen here through this journey of this story. And I'm going to definitely say, because there's a reset button happening here around the 20th, 19th, 20th, that's the beginning of the beginning of the beginning of a new way that you are in relationship to a partner or in relationship to partnership. So whether it's business or love, you're going to reset how you interface with partners. You had a chironic wound in the house of long-term love and business partners since 2019, maybe attracting wounded business and love partners. And now you're turning around how you are in those relationships. And one thing I can give you advice on, Libra, stop saying it's okay. Stop saying yes, or stop saying whatever you want, or stop making nice, because this is going to be a turning point month where by being direct with your partner about something, or within yourself about the way you've been steamrolled or railroaded by other people, because you always do that. You are often too accommodating. This will be a turning point one way or the other. I don't care if you're single. Then you're turning around your own operating system for long-term committed business and love partners and partnerships. All right. Last but not least, and least but not last, there's a small possibility of pregnancy with you and a significant other, and decisions about whether or not to keep the pregnancy or forfeit the pregnancy. All right. Just a possibility for some of you here in this sky. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. We have a stellium in your work house, and probably you are going to be working hard between April 9th to May 8th, but Mars is in his joy here. So that's good. He likes this part of the sky. He can get you working out to improve your health. That's what he's quite often doing here. He's also a soldiering guy in a soldiering house. So hopefully none of you are going to sign up to go to war and sacrifice your life for a small little wasp nest nation in the Middle East. But nonetheless, this is a story for you. You could sign up for soldiering under this energy, right? So man or woman. So watch out for that. I advise you not do that, but you be you. Got the Grim Reaper there. It's not a good onset for signing up for the army or whatever. Could bode death. So don't do it if you can avoid it. But nonetheless, here's Mars. He can help you get in shape, fix your health problems, do the surgeries you need to have your health improve. He'll help motivate you to be more directed, decisive, action-oriented, and hardworking, if not passionate, in the work environment. The sun is here with him in the beginning of the story, ruling your 10th house, and a lot of this is about the work. I know sometimes when Mars is here, someone leaves a job, like in your colleague coworker space, someone quits or gets fired. Sometimes you want to quit, but not as often, more like somebody's quitting. If that's the case, it could level you up to a greater position of power. And I do want to say that you could have major decisions you're making at this time and actions you wish to take regarding pets. Pluto in your fourth house of where you live is giving a kind of like a wind at the back of Mars. And you might have this opportunity for an animal, but I'm telling you, it would be a biggie because Pluto is like, is it a Mastiff or is it like a tall greyhound or is it a Saint Bernard? So if you're going to get a pet, it'd likely be a biggie. But it could be some major decisions being made about whether or not you want a pet. And then finally, rental property. Yes. Well, Mars is making decisions regarding rental properties. And you might be making some major decisions about where you want to live and whether you want to rent your home out or be in a rental property. Now, there's a possibility for your sign of inheritance because Mercury would help you pay your debts off through inheritance money, and Jupiter in the ninth house is the legal gains of the eighth. So you may come into some inheritance. If it's true, it's from an elder father figure, and you may see that April 9th to May the 18th could open up inheritance stores, legal courses of action that are prosperous, and maybe an opportunity for your professional work to work for a foreign company, to move your work to a foreign place, or to travel internationally for professional reasons, April 9th to May 18th. There's a turning point in May, like the first week of May or so into mid-May, that really you can say opportunity emerges professionally, and it could invite you to a consideration that you want to let go of one job and find a new one. Jupiter is the exaltation lord of your fifth house of creativity and art. And when he squares Mars, there's going to be some pivots about being more creative, more artistic, enjoying your natural gifts and talents more. So my son is a Scorpio rising, taking 8 months of maternity leave because his job allows it. Is that nice or what? And he's an artist, so I can see him doing that. And, you know, it's interesting that he's going to be having a baby in July, but the turning point in May. So maybe he takes early parental leave or something, or major decisions about that. Jupiter is in a lucky house, and he's a lucky guy, and he's exalted. And there's a flow to the North Node of Fate. So major turning points bring a great deal of luck your way in the month of May, from the beginning of the month to about the 18th. And if you need a surgery, do it. But on the 17th to 20th, there's a bit of hit a wall. So best to do surgeries that are for your health after the 20th, if you ask me. Okay. And same with the work. You could hit a wall in work or an obstacle in a rental property agreement. That's the 17th to the 20th. More importantly, this is a deep reset of your approach to work and livelihood that hasn't happened for decades. And we're going to be doing a video on that 2-year prediction for you coming up about a week after this one. Hey, Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. What about this Sagittarius story? What do we have going on as she wiggles around on her chair? This is because I can't sit this long, all right? On a bar stool that's rock hard. It looks to me like Jupiter, your lord is just. I can't help myself. I can't stand myself because of Erica Kirk. You have the 8th house, right? which is chunky money. And that means inheritances or spousal supports money, or could even be an investment taking off in the market, stock market, but whatever it is, it's going to bring good money your way after a time of financial stress or uncertainty. Ops and Jupiter turn it around. And against that backdrop, Mars is backing things up. He enters your fifth house of good fortune, and he'll be here from April 9th to May 18th. He does this every 2 years, but not in this alignment with a powerful stellium. If you're a Sagittarius, sun, moon, or rising who's creative or artistic or entrepreneurial, you are off to the races. If you're single and you're really looking for a love, you could meet somebody 7 years older or younger, minimum 6, 7 years younger or older than you, and get involved in a very passionate new love story, healing your chironic wounds around committed and long-term love. But also this stellium in the house of good fortune, Mars is extremely competitive here. So your competitive instinct, including gambling, can pay off with a chunk of money. So yes, poly market, lottery tickets, speculative risk-taking, gambling can bring good fortune financially. Be careful, know your limit, play within it. Mars is the ruler of your 12th house. If you're going to meet a new relationship, it could be in a distant shore, far off land, or for someone from a different country as another option if you're single. This is a dating house, so it's about that. I don't know. Venus is traveling through here. You or your partner could have gotten pregnant already. And this is a discussion about whether or not to keep a child. A termination or a continuation of a pregnancy could be on your radar April 9th to the 18th. Pluto's backing up Mars with transpersonal willpower. This also favors travel domestically and internationally, could connect to passion projects, art, entrepreneurship, international success, or love and romance because of travel, opening up for single ones especially. All right, April 9th to March 18th. Jupiter is most activated for financial success and luck and good fortune in chunky money ways, coming up when we get the beginning of May started out. And then Jupiter and Mars begin to really connect. But another element here is the idea that on the runway to that, right? You like Mercury is the ruler of your significant long-term love house, and you could find yourself with a North Node in Pisces under this kind of sky, benefiting from the sale of property connected to the end of a relationship and taking a bit of money into your pocketbook. Mars exalts your money house, money you possess, earn, save, and you could put in your wallet. So there can be that for some of you. But I'm telling you, some of you could win money. So competitive nature, like a game of chance, playing that. You're best to get the competitive game going when Mercury joins the fray. So between April the 15th and May the 18th, yes, know your limit, play within it, but you might come into something like a financial fortune from winning money. The only other thing I must mention, I can't ignore the fact that there's an inheritance signature with Jupiter. So if it's not spousal support and divorce money, then it could be an inheritance or money from your in-laws or property from your in-laws coming through the sky. Yeah. Especially, as we move closer to May. If you have a passion project you're working on, if it involves social media, online stuff, or writing, you are unstoppably will-powered up. You are moving at the speed of light, and you are succeeding at that passion project, whether it's entrepreneurship or creativity or art and social media. Okay, you're going like full bore ahead. You got your angle. You know what your dangle is. You're doing it. You're just like, it's a good time to finish something that you really want to work on, although you'll hit a wall the 17th to the 20th in that romantic love story, in that passion project, in the decision to keep or terminate a pregnancy. But then you'll get past the wall after the 20th. And it's a whole reset button. It's going to give you a whole new tonal quality of the fifth house. Are you going to use that creative energy? What's it for? What's that natural gifts and talents you were born with? How are you going to use those? That becomes a bigger story. We'll cover that in a 2-year forecast. Hey, Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. So what happens here is you've got a stellium in the 4th house, and the 4th house is literally your home, and Mars is often conflict or separation or cutting away. So it's like, are you going to leave your home? Are you going to cut away from your home? Are you going to move? Are you going to fight with people in the home? Are they going to fight with you? Are you going to go to battle in your home? Goodness gracious, that's not fun. However, it's possible. So keep that in mind. And Mars arrives here on April the 9th and leaves on May the 18th. And Mars can definitely cause friction with the people with whom you cohabitate. On the other hand, Mars gets good with a hammer. Saturn is like the laborer, and Mars is the hammer and the saw. And it's like, do you have laborers in the house? Are you building a home? Are you sawing away at a home? Are you designing a home? That's a vibe. You can be very busy with that stuff, like a lot of construction in the home. Separation is here. So you may separate from your home. So you might meet traveling from home or moving from home, either one, April 9th to May 18th. You may be making major decisions regarding a chironic wound of belonging connected to where you live or whom you live with. And you've been dealing with that since 2019. Are you my home? Are you my home? Like that old book by childhood book of the bird looking for its mom. You're looking for your home. Mars is going to help you make bold decisions and brave actions to figure out where you belong. Mercury chimes in on the 15th of April. And so that could open up rental property home opportunities from April the 15th to May the 8th, well, until the first week of May, to secure a rental, to decide to rent a property. You got a lot of dynamic power coming off of Pluto in the house of speech and the house of vocation, calling, earnings, and money. And so a lot of the drive and momentum towards what you're doing in and from the home may be very much about wanting to power up your finances, right? Now, Mars can be a self-starter, but if you're going to do self-starter and be your own boss, then you're drawing from the well of your family line and what their talents and gifts may have been, and you want to execute them in your own life. So if you're going to do something from home to create more prosperity, Mars is going to direct you towards things that came from your mom and dad's line of the family, you know. May brings in a lot of luck from Jupiter. Now, the luck is interesting because it's the 7th house. So yes, you may have a lucky break connected to a financial opportunity connected to a job or work. All right, especially in the month of May. But this is also the house of significant long-term love. You or your love partner have been having some times of duress. Now happy endings are here. Happy endings after times of travail and committed long-term love. And of course, Venus is in the romance house, bringing a super glow to affection and romance. Yeah, from about March 30th to April 23rd. But, I kind of think that your partner, if you have one, could be bringing some opportunity to you that's quite luscious and abundant and could involve opportunities connected to land and home and where one lives. If you have a partner, that's likely true in May. Well, Mars in the 4th house, cutting. And of course, Mercury. And of course, Sun is here for a while until about the 20th of April. So it can be April 9th to the 20th that you're going to find yourself in the position to come into contact with inheritance money from your spouse and her family or his family, or your own money from your own family coming your way as a result of this, including money from a sibling 3 younger or 3 older, being available to come your way, particularly likely between I'd say April 15th to the 20th. Alrighty, let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear back from you. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. I am one of you, and we have a beautiful stellium in our 3rd house of social media, writing, media in general, things to do with communicating, marketing, selling, teaching, and learning. Also, the local neighborhood and siblings. Well, how about that chock-a-block busy place? I bet you haven't seen that in decades. That's true, you haven't. There's a reset button here, changing your relationship to that 3rd house for the next 2 years. That happens on the 19th, 20th when Mars and Saturn co-join. We'll cover that in a separate video. It's important, but right now we're just saying, what is it like to have Mars here every 2 years, let alone in a rare stellium? Well, the first thing is you're full of passion, vim, and vigor, and you're super willpowered and taking a lot of action and making executive decisions. And you're making decisions from a realistic, sober-minded view of life because Saturn's here. And this is all about your, writing, teaching, communicating, selling, marketing, social media, website, blah, blah, normally you just plow through this every 2 years and you're just working really hard in those areas. However, Saturn can slow you down, like the parking brake and the gas and pedal at the same time. Around the 18th, 19th, and 20th, look for a bit of a wall or something that slows you down. And, pay attention to what the lessons are, because Saturn gives us wise lessons and he's the ruler of your sign. So anything that sort of feels like a brick wall, a flaming brick wall around the 17th to the 20th, look at what you're being taught. What are you learning? However, this is categorically and generically the house of siblings. And it may indeed not be about you, that there may be a problem with the health or a challenge in the life of a sibling. Saturn and Mars co-join, and your sibling has a challenge, right? And so this is the house of siblings in general. However, because Mercury joins the fray, it could involve the following: a sibling one younger, or a sibling two younger, or a sibling three younger, or a sibling three older, or four older. I'm giving you all the options. So sibling energy and challenges with a sibling in their life, not about you. Mars is about your neighborhood and neighbors. Watch out for neighbors throwing bricks at you, because Saturn is something solid and Mars is something aggressive. And they may be sending you gnarly emails or text messages or putting a letter under your door. You could have some conflict with a neighbor, or you might be annoyed by your neighbor. This is like who's doing the construction in your neighborhood or, in your building. I'm really worried they're going to do a new roof in my building. And if they slate it for May, I'm going to jump off a bridge. So I don't move till June. So you can be annoyed by your local environment and what feels like aggressive energy, like whether it's people or it's sound aggression, like sound aggression from the hammering, the jackhammering, the chainsaws in the neighborhood. Okay. What do you call that thing? Jackhammer. Yeah. You don't want that. Or like a metal saw. There could be a lot of that going on. Unfortunately, I don't wish that for either of us. April the 9th to May 18th. Opportunities coming. Okay, and good for finishing project. The finish line is Saturn and Mars's energy. Finishing writing projects, teaching projects, marketing projects, teaching projects, like really going for it. So April 9th to May the 18th. Now I'll be actually creating all the slideshows for the Divine Timing Masterclass, although I taught it before. I'm upgrading everything. And so it's probably me working my ass off April 9th to early May, because the class starts in May, right? To get the content slideshows redone to get better levels. Travel. Mars loves to travel. This is a house of travel. Don't go to, a foreign country here. This is traveling domestically. I will be traveling in May, so that makes sense. But it's like, domestic shorter travel and trips are sanctioned and are good for you, especially after the wall, after the 20th of April. And then in May, we have the contact to Jupiter, which can mean very positive things are happening, like golden opportunities connected to employees, employers, work, job, money, prosperity, and all of the energy you're putting into the third house, which again can be your social media landscape, can be your teaching and marketing and selling, can be connected to siblings. Can be connected as well to pets. Now, if you wanted to get a pet off of this, you could do that, right? So if you're like thinking of contacting the breeder or finding a pet, this is going to open up pet opportunities in the month of May. And I don't even know if you're looking for the pet, you know what I mean? But it could show up anyway, especially with the new moon in the third house square Jupiter. This is because you'd find a pet in the local community. This is not importing a dog from Mexico. No Chihuahuas from Mexico here. This would be like the local pet store or the local breeder. All righty, let's move past us and talk about the last sign, Pisces, sun, moon, and rising. You're never last, you're never least, you're always best, you're always best. All right, guys. What's going on with your money? Oh, what is this? What is this money story about? Okay, or are you changing your food style dramatically and cutting addictions out? That works too. I haven't seen this in decades. I think it was 1991. And then 1998, there was a Mars-Saturn reset. It's different every time. But whatever this is, it's completely about your money for most of you. Okay, so Mars is a self-starter here, and he's known for people who born with Mars in the second house to be really good at being an entrepreneur. I have Mars in my second house. But Mars here cuts, ends, and severs. And he also does dental work and abrasive stuff like lasers and surgery. So you could do facial surgery or teeth redoing or, veneers. And why would you do that? Because Saturn rules your teeth. And Mars is, and this is the house of the face. So facial surgery or facial procedures involving sharp, pointy, and laser-like objects and injectables as well, ongoing here for you guys, if you need or want it, April the 9th to the 18th. Mars is visible, it's safe to have surgery, all right? Venus is in dignity, it's safe to have surgery. Best to have surgery between April the 9th, if you need it for your face and teeth and stuff, nose, April the 9th to April the 24th, because we like Venus's dignity. The results of the facial surgery will be dignified. You are likely to feel this energy with Mars here and Mercury, who joins him on the 15th, that you might be really aggressively wanting to sell something or buy something. Now, it's connected to possessions that you might need for your home, buying a computer, buying a laptop, buying a sofa, buying a car even. So there's a sudden impetus for making decisions around what you like to sell or purchase at this time. And that kind of runs through more directly April 15th to about the early first week of May. Because Mars is also mojoed up here, he's going to try to align your earnings with a deeper sense of purpose as he rules your 9th house of Dharma. And he's also strongly connected to an alignment with a sibling too older than you and the success you may have in your career. Actually, I give him one older and two older, the sibling one older and two older. Both of those are very much a focus for you between April 9th and May 18th in positive ways that support you in increasing your success professionally and being aligned with purpose. Opportunity is knocking in the house of good fortune with Ops and Jupiter. This energy is going to open up some good fortune for you and some luck. However, this could also be information or news that you're going to be a grandparent. This also could open up opportunity for parenting, for becoming a parent. This is also an exciting time in terms of if you're really going for it and you're passionately directed and you open up a deep channel of transpersonal willpower from the divine, in addition to quitting addictions forever and ever and eating better, I think that the way you make money becomes quite successful. And it's especially useful for those of you who are not dependent on a local source of money. You can make money from people around the world internationally because you work for a company that's international and you move to another country to make the money, or you're in the digital income borderless revenue online world. Goodness gracious, with Venus and you can have something go viral, and you can have a book publishing deal of the century coming off this kind of sky. So go for it. The best of the luck is in May. Probably you're going to start to feel at the beginning of May when Jupiter and Mars begin to come into a tighter connection, looking like a square, and you could find yourself feeling extremely fortunate. Jupiter can translate it to professional fortunes, professional good fortune bestowed upon you in the month of May, all the way through to the 18th. You could buy a lottery ticket. Jupiter's in the house of good fortune, where we can speculate and gamble. Mars is competitive. Mercury is the ballot. So to purchase a lottery ticket could open up a door of an unexpected financial windfall. Mars rules your pennies from heaven. So yeah, why not? Just for fun, buy a lottery ticket sometime. Once or twice is all you need. Best to do that April 15th through to about May 6th or so for success in winning the lottery. Okay, that's what I've got for you, Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. There is no members only deep dive about the dark side of this transit, because there really isn't a dark side. So there's no extended members only. And do I have an outro for you today? I like to talk about outro stuff now and then. Without repeating myself, I've told you guys so many fancy campfire ghost stories over the years. What's on my mind right now? I find myself looking at my life through the lens lately. Maybe this is helpful for some of you. Of do I feel at all inspired? I remember I used to love my magazine job in New York City. I used to get so excited on Sunday night that I got to go to work in Chelsea and work in my magazine job and walk by the Empire State Building and all of that. And, I was inspired by the work I did. And to be inspired means to be inspirited, to be filled with spirit. And it's not really a psychic message or anything like that for you guys today, but I think that I do it, you do it, we do all do it. The treadmill of material realm worry, making money, getting the money you need, having the safety and security you need. I'm not discounting that. In fact, we all have it. I have it. But on the other hand, the thing that can bring you the money and you're not inspired, enthused, or enjoying, right? Because, yes, maybe they're paying you like a pretty penny to do the job that you absolutely don't like. At the end of the day, it's corrosive to the soul. And I think I'm talking about where I've been at. I've been treadmilling on YouTube for 6 years, and it is a treadmill, right? And it is a cycle that content creator burnout is a thing. And I have an agent waiting for me to write an astrology book. It's not a confession. I'm just reminding all of us what's the price of success, or the price of ambition, or the price of the idea that we need to keep plowing away at something even when we begin to feel tired. And I would love to hear from some of you in the comments if you've ever encountered that vibe of, is it worth it? Or as Minopon says, is the juice worth the squeeze? And how you've navigated through that. For me right now, I'm having some really deep spiritual inquiry about stuff and feeling a little bit more at ease than I have been because my morning meditations are useful and deep night sleeps are useful and wine-free nights are useful in order to get the good night's sleep. But I kind of feel like, because we know whatever we hold tightly onto, whether it's a love relationship, the job, the money, the thing that we are holding so tightly onto, the grasping fist, really is at the expense of the open palm. And the open palm is what we need to be walking through life with, because, ask and ye shall receive. I have so many miracle stories over my life that it's not funny that when I ask, I did receive. And when I am a place of gratitude, attitude, from authentic gratitude, then life begins to restore a momentum and flow and ease to itself. It's a self-correcting system. Life is a self-correcting system. And gratitude isn't just writing things down and saying, I should be grateful, right? That's not gratitude. Gratitude is wonder and awe. You don't have to be grateful for what you have. You could be walking down the street, see the rainbow, or see the child in the stroller and their big eyes looking at you. And all of a sudden you're filled with gratitude, wonder, and awe for life, just for life, it unfolding before our very eyes in its most magical ways and its most difficult ways. My mom died when I was 39. My dad's 37 years old. When I was those ages, both of them sudden and unexpected deaths, including my mom being run over by a car. I have had my son almost killed twice. He's now thankfully alive and in his 30s. And so I've lived with like an intimacy with death. And if anything, I think all of us can remind ourselves that we can't take it with us. We're not here forever. And if you're not enjoying the ride, why are we on it? So I'm kind of talking to myself. I enjoyed making the videos I made today. If you see this outfit in a video, I had a good day making the videos. But I will say that I think we have to all find the inspiritedness. Inspired is to have the spirit activated within us. And in astrology, your fifth house is the natural talents and gifts you were born to express. You came in ready to express what the ruling planet of your fifth house is pointing you toward, and what planets are in your fifth house of joy, enjoyment, enthusiasm, inspiration, creativity, and the muse. All of us. You have a muse for science, a muse for business, a muse for art. So look to that in your chart for clues. That's all I have to say. No wonder the fifth house is the house of good fortune, because when we activate the fifth house properly, we live in alignment with the talents and gifts that we're born to express, and that we came into this life ready to use. And if you think about that book, The Leap, which I need to read, are you operating in your zone of mediocrity? That's like me working at Starbucks or a waitressing job because I'm terrible at customer service. Terrible. Or are you operating in your zone of excellence, which is you're really good at it, but you could be doing something you're even better at? That might be me on YouTube, actually. And then your zone of genius, which is like, I think my zone of genius is writing, and I'm an award-winning fiction writer, poet, and screenplay writer. But I always grew up thinking I'd be a writer. That's why I became a journalist. So to start writing again might be my zone of genius. Yet I'm doing my zone of excellence on YouTube. So all of you think to yourself, where are you in your work? Are you in, which zone do you think you're in? I'm going to go buy the book, The Leap. And a girlfriend and I are going to have we decided to create a book club together the other night. We both don't belong to one. And I think my contribution for the first book I want to do with the group club will be The Leap. I want to see what that book says. I want to take the leap, into my zone of excellent genius, not just my zone of excellence. Doesn't mean I won't be doing videos here. Just means that I won't attach my identity to doing the videos here, so that I sell my soul. Okay. Thanks for listening to my confessional outro, but hopefully there's some motivational inspiration and clarity for that in your life as well. I'll see you guys on the next video. This is, I think, dropping on a Thursday. Then I'll have a drop usually on Saturday and or Sunday and Monday. So like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. My All Signs 12 videos usually come out the 3rd to 4th weekend of every month, depending on how many weekends are in a month. So get looking forward to, near the end of April, you'll be getting an individual 30-minute video for your sign in a playlist format coming through my channel. So that's coming up next. We'll be talking about May. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Like and subscribe. Astrology is a map, but it's not a map of place. It's a map of time. What I love about teaching astrology and having people use this time map is that it helps them navigate their life. You wouldn't get out of your house and go ahead and start traveling without a literal map or a GPS unit, especially if you don't know the terrain. Well, astrology is the map. It is the terrain of time. And in our course, the Divine Timing Masterclass, we're going to be learning about 5 very powerful precision tools in astrology to time your best life. But here is the thing. This is a course that takes ancient timing tools and Time Lord tools, and yes, helps you navigate reality with greater ease and flow and even luck, because you know how to work with it. But it is not the only part that astrology offers you. It's not only a prediction map of time. Once you start going down the astrology rabbit hole, you, like me, begin to wonder about fate and free will, like who's in charge here? Because you're going to see the arc of destiny, and you're going to notice, if you use these timing tools, not only how to look forward, but how to look backwards. And one of the most surprising parts of this is that when we turn around and look backwards using astrology, we see pattern recognition and cycle repetition. And that is useful. Number one, it gives a sense of destiny and meaning to our lives, where we understand no choices we made were right or wrong. They weren't mistakes. The choices and actions we took were a part of a greater plan. The second thing I love about pattern recognition and cycle repetition, because it's pretty reliable, you can use it to time your best life, because you can say, okay, I've done this one before. I've been through this set of eclipses every 18 and a half years. I know how they operate in my chart. And well, it's never the exact same story in exactly the same way. The archetypes underneath the story are the same. Venus, Pluto archetypes, the love of power and the power of love, right? So it's one energy playing out in different ways in our lives. And, we can get like a jealousy and a betrayal story with Pluto, but we can also get the depth of love, true love, transformative love, and regenerative love. So how these stories play out depends on how you receive them and how you choose to interact with them. So in my Divine Timing Masterclass, I've chosen 5 tools that I think I can teach intermediate to advanced beginner students. And I have taught this class before in 2022 and 2021, but not all of these tools. I taught 4 of these tools, I believe. So in our class, if you want to join me in the Divine Timing Masterclass for 5 consecutive weekends in the month of May on Saturdays, I'd love to have you there. There's a little checklist on my website that's going to ask you whether or not you think you're ready for this class, because you don't want to take this class if you've never before learned the meaning of the planets, the meanings of the houses, how to recognize the astrology glyphs. If you don't know the rudimentary language of astrology, this course will not be for you. This is for those advanced beginners and intermediate students. And by the way, if you want to learn the basics, come to my Sky Reader course. Every September we begin. And this year's course will be at least 7 weeks rather than the traditional 6, to allow for a slower learning curve for some of you who find the pace a little fast. But I am teaching you a new language. All right, when you start off as a beginner, and no one learns Italian or Greek overnight. My name is Lori Lothian, by the way, and I am Lunatic Astrology, and we are learning together. I'm going to show you the website that I put up that shows you the basic layout of the land of this course that's coming up. It's going to be modular. There are 5 weekends, there are 5 courses, there are weekly Q&As that are attached to each module, which I go into a coaching mode or in a help mode to help you if you're confused on the tool or to guide you further. So you're getting the class with me, which will go at least most times 90 minutes minimum to 2 hours sometimes. And then you're going to get the actual follow-up for that module in a midweek Q&A with a replay for all of it. And you get to keep the course forever. It's evergreen. Once you take it with me, it's yours. You don't, it's like, it's saved for you on my teaching platform, and you can go back and learn it anytime. So I want to just say, the 5 tools are modular because some of you may already know these tools and you're like, oh, I have to sign up for a 5-week course, but I already know 2 of the 5 tools really well, and I don't really think I need to learn it. I get that. So I decided to make it modular, but with an incentive for you to level it up and take that course, the whole package, because there's consistency of community. I have a Facebook group for you guys to meet in and chat. You can start your own WhatsApp groups if you want to really connect with each other. And there's also consistency of the content building on each other. But yes, you can do it in a standalone mode. So I'm just going to show you the website just to show you, it's not the final version. The enrollment cart won't open to the public until later on, I think about April the 10th. And if you're on the early bird discount, that's a different story. That was a sign up option. Let's show you the actual picture of this website that I mocked up for, getting the basics down. So I'm on my Lunatic Astrology website. Divine Timing Masterclass, enrollment doors open, April, and the date is coming. And a 5-week deep dive into ancient predictive timing tools. So you're going to get a weekly live Q&A call with me that you can come to, and you're going to get a private Facebook group. And I may put a Discord group up there as well. I'm not good at running them, but I have a fellow colleague who will maybe do that for me. And all the content is available for replay. And we start May the 2nd. And so here's what I want to say. Remember, the checklist I'm going to be giving you. I thought I wrote it in here, the FAQ, but it is like, if you don't know how to recognize a planetary glyph yet, you don't know the meanings of the 12 houses, you don't know rulerships, Venus rules, 2 signs, Libra and Taurus, and she's exalted in the sign of Pisces, then you're probably not ready for this class at all. And here are the actual modules. So, planetary decades, and it's about your unique timing. It's a very cool tool. And I learned this years ago from Austin Kopek, and I use it in my own life just as a guidepost, but it's unique to your own natal chart and in the order of the planets in your chart in zodiacal order. So it's a really simple, but fun, but accurate timing tool for your life. The next one is Sfidaria, which is a very powerful time map. It's a little bit like Sfidaria, the Dasha system in India, where you have a Mahadasha and an Antardasha, meaning that Vedic astrology tool gives you certain years and windows of time, certain ages, and when there's one planetary power ruler over you. Like I just finished a long run through my moon Mahadasha, and now I'm in my Mars Mahadasha in the Vedic system. This is Sfidaria. It's a similar idea. It's an ancient Hellenistic timing tool. It's extremely enlightening, and it depends on whether you're born in the day and the night. And then we have solar arc times. I call it God's clock. This is my favorite tool. I've been using it for years, and I can't wait to teach that to you because I've got some insider hacks from a lot of experience over 7 years and thousands of clients about the best way to use God's clock. And you also have zodiacal releasing, karmic turning points using a lot of eros, a lot of love, and a lot of fortune. And this is a very powerful Hellenistic tool, and it definitely works. I've taught a class on it already, but I'm putting my guest teacher expert, Kaylee Michelle, in here. She taught this as an extra advanced module in my last Sky Reader, and she was really loved, and she's really good at giving you worksheets to do this and really learn it. And so I am so happy to have her sharing her wisdom for the 3rd week's class, my guest teacher, Kaylee. And then distributions through the bounds. These are your life's chapters. They're extremely, very useful. I remember Kamala Harris was out of the running for the Democratic Party. She dropped out of the race to be nominated at the convention, and everyone was tossing her out the door. And I looked at her zodiacal releasing back in the first election with Joe Biden back then, not the second election, the Joe Biden one where she became vice president. And I said, oh my God, no, she's going to be okay. And no one understood why, because I'm like, she's going to go to power here. How could she go to power when she got knocked out of the race for the presidency and Joe Biden took over the lead? Well, she became his vice president pick. So this kind of thing works. I did it with I have a fellow astrologer who was having a reading for me back then when I was first learning this tool from Ben Dykes back in the pandemic era. And I said, you're going to write like lots of books in this window of time. Now she's written 3 or 4 astrology books, and it was all in using the distributions through the bounds tool. which I'll be teaching. And lastly, we have bonus courses for self-study. So this is if you are literally going to take the whole bundle and you want to be there for all classes or just have them at your disposal for future reference. I love that I'm going to give you the annual Advanced Perfection Tool video from a class I've already taught live, my Solar Return Masterclass, and my Natal Progressed Lunation course as well. Those are replays of 2-hour courses I've taught before with supporting documentation and slides. It's about a value of $99, $33 each. You get that because you want to sign up for the bundle. So I'm trying to incentivize people to sign up for all of the videos. All the information you're going to need in order to sign up for my class and to get enrolled for that class, and enrollment carts will open to the general public around the 9th of April. I'm using an auspicious election for that, for the early bird discount people who got on the wait list for that class, and there's a few hundred of you. I will be sending you the email. If you're listening to this video and you're not on the early bird discount wait list, then you can find the link to that wait list in this video underneath this video. Otherwise, if you're catching this later after the April 10th, 9th, 10th, then the information to enroll and the link to enroll is under this video. So I'm excited. To me, astrology is the tool that I use, like I breathe, you know what I mean? I shower, I brush my teeth because I live and breathe it. But it's also a way to connect to the divine wisdom that's operating through my life. Because I can say, oh, no wonder I hit a wall last week, Sun, Saturn conjunct in Aries, and I'm an Aries sun and I hit a wall, and I can understand that wall, this too shall pass, right? That wall has a lesson for me and then it's over. I can anticipate things. I can work with them and not resist them. And then I can extract the deeper lessons of what I am experiencing because it's happening for a reason. So astrology to me is like how to know the mind of God. And that's one of the reasons I think I call this a divine timing masterclass, because we're looking at understanding the will of the divine in each of our lives by looking at the map of time in each of our lives. I hope that makes sense. I hope that's something that you can groove with, and we'll be getting that course going. And I'm excited in May to be teaching that to you. I'm moving in May, but I'm also teaching a class. That is what happens when you're in Aries with a Saturn Aquarius rising story going on, Saturn on the ascendant. You buck through anything, even a move in May, and I'll be sharing this class with you guys. I'm looking forward to it, actually. So come aboard. If you're not sure you're ready for the class, remember the checklist will be there for you. I think it was on the page. I didn't show it to you. Then no worries. You can always reach out to me by email. All my contact information is under all of my YouTube videos and stuff, and ask me to be more specific with your circumstance. The biggest risk you have is taking a class in astrology that is over your head. Then you continue to study astrology over the years and it's no longer over your head. And then you can use that class, you can go back and learn it. And I've had that happen to me where I've signed up when I was learning astrology for a course that was too sophisticated for me. And then I went back later and I figured out, oh my God, now I understand what the teacher's teaching. So that's the worst case scenario is you jump on in and you're not quite ready. But hey, guys, you got to know the basics. So if you don't know the basics, it's not the class for you. I'll see you guys in the Divine Timing Masterclass in May 2026. I'm so looking forward to having you there and playing in the sandbox of divination together.
Lunatic astrology.